In last lecture, we have talked about some of the differences between interfaces and the types. In this lecture, I will show you how you can create a type for a function. Okay, first of all, I will remove some of the comments. I will clear it out this file a little bit. You can still find these comments in the description of this lecture in my GitHub repository. Okay, so I will remove these comments here. So you'll have here only interface person. Also, I will remove this data type. And this will be back string in our play function. So we'll define here back as a string. Okay, now I would like to create a type for our function log person info. So I would like to assign here a type for this function. How we can do it? Okay, we can do it simply with the interface or with the type. I mentioned in the last lecture for the function types, it's better to use types, but I will show you the both ways. Okay, I will create here a new interface. Say here interface, and we will call it, how we can call it, type for a function for this log person info. I will call this interface person logger fn for a function. Person logger function, this will be interface for this function. This function, we need to specify the name of the function, so log person info. Log person info will be function, so I'll create here brackets, and I will provide here a return type of this function. So what this function is returning? This function, you can see actually the type of this function when you will hover over, just go with your mouse over, and you can see here the type of your function. Okay, is a function, log person info, accepting string, accepting number to parameters, and returning. This return type is a string. This means your function is returning string. It's returning this info, which is a string. Okay, so here we have it. So we will specify a function that returns string. Okay. Okay, now we'll leave it for a second. I will go to the return type of the function. So here you are not specifying return type of the function. It's defined implicitly from the return what you're returning here. But you can say here, I can say here column, and I will say here this function should return string. Okay. When I will hover over, I still can see here it's a function that returns a string. That's the return type. Okay, and when I will try to assign this return of the function to some variable, let's say const log, I will assign here the result. I can see here it's we are getting here a string. Okay, when I will define here explicitly type for this variable will be string, and I will change here now the return type of this function. I will say here, okay, this will not return the string here. I don't want to return here any strings. I would like to rather return here numbers. So I will specify here this function has to return number. I'm enforced to return from this function number. And also I'm getting here error for the log because the type number is not assignable to type string. So a result of this function, which is number, cannot be assigned to the variable with the type string. So now I can fix it by returning number. Let's say return 0 here, it's a number, and here I'm not getting error anymore because this function is returning numbers, but I'm getting error here because I'm specifying here a string. So I have two options. I can either remove string. Now the type will be created implicitly. It's a number you can see, or I can say here log will be number. Okay, but of course I would like to return it back to the strings as I had it before. So I will specify here return info, and this function will be returning string. Okay, so how can now we can continue with the function type. So I will specify here type for this function, okay? So person logger function is a function that's returning a string and accepting two parameters. It's accepting name of the string, and it's accepting age of the number. Okay, now we have the type, we have interface for a function, and what I can do here, now I need to slightly change the syntax of this function when I want to specify the type of the function. I need to assign it to the variable which the function will be then arrow function. Okay, how can I change it? It's pretty simple, guys. We need to create here a new variable. I will remove this commented line. Okay, I will create here on the new line, I will create here a new variable. I will call it exactly the same, log person info equal. And now I will get this here, this part. I'll paste it here. And I will change here also. Here has to be arrow like this. And I will remove or comment out this function completely. Okay, now I'm assigning function which we are defining here, which is defined as an arrow function, to log person info variable, and I can still call the log person info as I am used to before. There is no any difference now. There are of course differences because when you're using arrow functions, the function behaves a little bit differently in the terms of this context, but it is not a subject of this lecture. Okay, so now look person info, when you will hover over, you can see here actually type of this function. And what I can do here, I can explicitly define this type here. So I can say here, my log person info has to be log person function. And you can see here immediately I'm getting here error. And let's see what's the error is about. So let's hover over. Okay, and we can see here property log person info is missing in a type here. Oh, actually guys, we are writing it wrongly here, this interface. It should be defined like this. When you want to specify a type for the function in the interface, you just don't need here name of the function. We can just specify here like this. And now it should be fine. You can see here log person info is satisfying the type person logger function, which is the interface. Okay, and now everything is good here. And then I will specify here some other signature for this interface here. For example, I would like to return here numbers instead. I will get here error that this log person info is not returning the numbers. So you can see here type string is not enabled to type numbers. So now we have a correct issue. Okay, of course, he would like to specify here person logger function should return the strings. Okay, and now let's see how we can specify this with the types. And you will see it's much easier, or it's more natural how you will read it. Okay, so I'll specify here now type. I will comment this out. Oops, I will just comment it out, and I will copy person logger function. And I'll write here type person logger function equals normal brackets arrow. Let's return string here, and let's define here parameters. Let's say name, string, age, number, and you can see, and that's it. Now person logger function is a type of this function, so also log person info has the same type, and it has to comply with it, and it has to specify the two parameters and return type of the string. Okay, so now you can see the difference between this syntax and type syntax, and I think for the functions is definitely types are much better. It's much more clear to me what I'm defining here as a with writing interface. Interfaces are more for the object types as for a functions. Okay, so for a function I will be using mostly the types. Okay, and we will change here something. For example, I will specify the person name will be Boolean. I will get here immediately a couple of errors, or just this error here that I cannot assign a Boolean to the string. So you can see type of a parameter person name and the name are incompatible. You can see here person name and this name are incompatible because here I'm specifying Boolean, but my type is specifying the function should have a name of the string. Okay, I'll just change it back to the string as it should be. All right. All right, guys, so that's the function types, either with the interface or with the type. I would suggest you to use the types. Okay, let's continue next lecture and we'll talk more about the types. Cheers.